Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, classic, known classics. This episode number 3044 and Doubleshot number 2940. No, 38. 38. Yes, 38. So this one, we're talking about two trades here, though we're kind of going to be crossing streams this one. We're talking about Power Girl Old Friends, which contain issues 19 to 27 of Power Girl Volume 2. We're also going to be talking about Justice League Generation Lost, Volume 2, which contains issues 13 to 24 of the series. We'll start with that one and kind of go into Power Girl. So in the main book itself for Justice League Generation Lost, the first issue opens up with Cap battling Mogog, a character debuted in the pages of JSA, and he dies, and it is revealed that Checkmate was the one who kind of sent him to kill Captain Atom. And because of this, the Checkmate's charter gets revoked by the United Nations. Yep. And so the current Black King gets contacted by Maxwell Lord. I'll get the Power Girl thing in a minute. So, he doesn't know who Maxwell Lord is, and there's a good reason for that, because in Justice League Generation Lost book, Maxwell Lord uses powers when he was revived thanks to Blackest Night to wipe the whole planet's memory of him, except for small handful of people, which include Power Girl. And like when a person will get to that. So, yeah. So, by the way, he actually ends up brainwashing briefly Power Girl, and then she tried to join the new Justice League International. Yes, this is a new revived version, which this revived version of Justice League International, this book, is comprised of Booster Gold, Red Rocket, Fire, Ice. I'm trying to think who else is part of this group. I know Captain M is here, and that's it. Power Girl joins, but they do have a couple members do join the group per se, but here's the weird thing about this book. Now, Ted Kord is not here because, Justice League International, Ted Kord. Nope, there's a good reason why he's not here, because he's been dead. He's actually dead. Yeah, he was killed because the whole world, basically superheroes think that Ted Kord killed himself. That's like I said in pages of Power Girl. And, he killed himself. And Power Girl's like, no, Maxwell murdered him. And we'll get to one person who does remember, and it's quite surprising he remembers him. So, yeah, so basically, at one point also B, at Fire, she gets wounded, and she ends up making it with Red Rocket. Despite the fact this man is happily married. Yes. And also, partway through the book, we have Maxwell going after this, we have him go after Wonder Woman. Now, in the book, basically, when he says Wonder Woman, the person with him, apparently, according to him, it's probably the person remembers, he says, "Who is Wonder Woman?" And he's like, "What do you mean who is Wonder Woman?" Well, I did hear about the reason for this, of why, basically, in book, they would decide to have people not remember who Wonder Woman is. And there's a reason for it. Because JMS rooted her for the storyline, the storyline Wonder Woman Odyssey, a story he did not finish, had it finished by somebody else, along with Grounded, which was had this outfit. She wore pants, they had this red top. She still had a lasso, and it was a weird book. It wasn't terrible per se. It's just that DC had to yank him off the book because they really needed for Superman Earth 1. If you need to do that, have him actually finish his damn story. Yeah. So, Power gets involved by around issue by around 18. She gets involved with the book. And also, Maxwell Lord decides to kidnap Jaime Reyes, the Blue Beetle, who in the book basically, he actually tries to murder him. He actually shoots him. Everyone thinks he's dead for a couple of issues until they figure out, no, he's actually alive and well, and he knows Max Lord's plan. Oh, and the Black King, the Black King of Checkmate, when he runs into him, he gets transformed into Omac. Yep, he gets transformed into Omac. In the pages of Power Girl, aside from the whole trying to get the government trying to take her company, which eventually Bruce Wayne steps in to basically just to help her out, and that gets sorted out. And there's some guest appearances with Batman. This is Bruce Wayne Batman, and it's revealed in the Power Girl book that he actually remembers Maxwell Lord. And They don't say in the book the reason why. Now, Dick doesn't know who he is. There's actually kind of a reason why he does not remember Max Lord. He never met him. Nope, I never read a single comic book of any Justice League book where Max Lord appeared that Nightwing appeared in. Well, when Dick Grayson was Nightwing. And by the way, Batman in this book is wearing his Batman Incorporated outfit. An outfit that was introduced, I think, when just after the whole Batman Incorporated was basically making his debut, and Batman's making his round to set up Batman Incorporated by having a Batman in every country. Like, he recruited Night Runner, who was a French Muslim, recruited him to be the Batman of France. He recruited Knight and Squire to be the Bat for the UK. Of course, also, he pretty much recruited all members who survived, who are still alive for the Batman of All Nations stuff. He recruited all of them first, which was quite nice. He recruited Dick. He recruited Damian. Tim. Yeah, Tim basically was like a global superhero. He wasn't based in a country. Cassandra Cain was part of this group. She was the Batman in Hong Kong as Black Bat. It was a really cool concept that DC decided to nearly squash as soon as Grant Morrison stopped writing Batman Incorporated. Because as soon as he left the Batman Incorporated book, like, as soon as he stopped writing it, DC did jack frickin' squat with it for years. And then Bronson did something with them. And, like, actually they revived the pages of Joshua Williamson's Batman book, where, yeah, Batman in the book wear his Batman Incorporated outfit, and he hands group out the Ghostmaker. He basically sidelines half the team because he doesn't think they're ready. Like, when it happened to be, like, the Chinese Batman, he's part of the group now. Yes. It's the Bronson book. So, so Batman does not autopsy of Ted Kord. He digs up his body, and he basically talks to Dick Grayson, like, oh, he really did commit suicide. He really did commit suicide. He really was murdered. And he doesn't make it remember, but he does verify the fact he was murdered, and whether he did commit suicide. And also they show him Power Girl. They show these various pictures. Like, she sees Max Lord. They see somebody else. Like one point they see like a dead Max Lord. They see Parasite for some strange reason. It's really weird. Yeah, everyone thinks she's crazy in their own book. Yeah. So, then of course, basically, by issue 17, they cross it with this very book. Yeah, by the way, Joe Winnick was writing both books. So, you had basically issue 17 end with, sign me up. And they get this book, and it's like, nope, not interested. Sorry, I gotta go. And you're like, wait a minute. Why in the world would Joe Winnick do that for? Why would he contradict himself? That's a good question. I've never asked Joe Winnick about that. Like, why would the Power Girl book contradict just like Generation Lost? I don't get it. So, the still Power Girl is quite interesting. Joe Winnick leaves issue 25, and the last couple are done by Matthew Sturgis for some strange reason. I'm not sure why. His little book involves like there's an issue where it has like clones of Power Girl. It's just really bizarre. I'm like, you end the book with that? This book was started by Jim Palmiotti, Justin Gray, and Connor, and you ended with this bizarre two-parter to end the series, end this book at this time? Yeah, it was really, really weird. Yep. But I did really enjoy Power Girl. It just, last issue was just really bizarre. But as for the main book itself, for just like Generation Lost, so Jaime Reyes knows the plan to unleash more Omax. So then, of course, basically, while the Justice League is battling the Omac in the square, Booster Gold is beating the crap out of Maxwell Lord. He's like so angry because he murdered his best friend. So he wants to beat the crap out of him, which rightfully so. Maxwell Lord, the way he's written this point, he rightfully deserves a beating at the hands of Booster Gold, the man who he recruited to become the Justice League. Yes, Maxwell Lord recruited him back in the 80s to join the Justice League International. And let me stop here and say this, where the fact that Ken McGuire and Jay Matias, I never talked to Keith Giffen like how he felt about the writing of Maxwell Lord here, like him becoming a villain, killing Ted Kord. Kevin told me that he hated this. He actually despised this retcon that he became a villain. He hated this so much. But he was on the company at that point. There was nothing he could freaking do about it. Yeah, that's what he told me when I first met him, because I did ask him this, because he absolutely despised it. So, Blue Beetle decides to transform his hands, because he turns into weapons, to like a BFG, and he says, "This is for Ted Cord," and proceeds to vaporize the OMAC. You're like, wow, that's really cool. Yeah, really cool about this. Now, when Linkara did his Blue Beetle retrospective, he thought Blue Beetle was dead. Because DC, apparently in the late 2000s, was doing this thing where they would do fake outs. They're like, oh, this character's dead, and then like issue later, oh, they're perfectly fine. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people probably, when they're reading this at this point, are like, really? So, Maxwell gets away. So at the end of the book, like, okay, so we brought back the JLI, so let's just do the JLI. And like, oh, we got a cool new book coming. Except it wasn't this lineup. Nope. So right after this book wrapped up, we had the New 52 happen. The Justice League National book basically come out, except it technically was not this lineup. Well, mostly anyways. Jaime was not part of the team. And here's the thing. For some strange reason, Dan Jurgens, who was writing the book at the time, who actually wrote the book previously, back in the 90s, he took over from Dan Matthias, Keith Giffen, and Ken McGuire with issue 61. He actually started with Justice League Spectacular. So he had history with JLI. And for some strange reason, they had the Justice League International headquarters out of the Hall of Justice for some strange reason. People protested this, so one guy blew up the hall. They never really went after the guy at all. They did their own thing. And it's almost like losing the headquarters. Well, it's like the whole thing losing the headquarters in the book really didn't hurt the book at all. The Hall of Justice did come back. It was brought up by Scott Snyder. And for some reason, like, it was around for a while, and after that crisis, when just like disbanded, it became the Hall of Order. And then after, like, Wall was defeated, and now just the headquarters of the Watchtower again. I don't know if they use the Hall of Justice anymore. Don't know about that, but I do love Generation Lost. I think it was an excellent book. Winnick did an excellent job with this book. It's just that I do agree with the criticism with the fake out involving Jaime Reyes. Like, you involve him here because he's the current Blue Beetle, fine. But have it where it looks like he died, clearly he died, and then retcon just 2 issues later. I do agree with the criticism that was not a good idea for the book, but the book was excellent. You can tell by the way that the group was written is that I can tell by the way the book was written is that Joe Winnick actually had respect for the JLI. He had a lot of respect for his cast. Probably not much for Jaime, per se, but he did have respect for Cap. Now, he really be pretty competent. Nobody's going to be, like, here's the thing I do appreciate about this book. Yes, this was technically the first book to feature the classic JLI group. without having, now, Keith Giffen will come in briefly in the book, but he wouldn't do the whole thing. But this is the first book out of Ken McGuire and the classic creators. Heck, the final issue, one of the variant covers for basically the final issue of this book was, I kid you not, a homage to Justice League number 1 from 1987. Excuse me. But it's like the way the book ends Generation Lost, like, ooh, we're going to look, Max Lord. Except no. Because next time we saw Max Lord, he was an OMAC. Yes, he was an OMAC book written by Dan DiDio. Yes, they brought him in that book for some strange reason. And then when the book ended, nothing was done with it for some time until it popped up in Grayson. Yes, believe it or not, his next appearance was in Grayson, where he was a leader checkmate, and his agents were being killed. This was this bizarre storyline where Checkmate was like the villains of Grayson. It was really weird what Tim Seeley and Tom King would do in the book. And then he came back more properly in Justice League under, I think it was, actually, he was actually brought back in Justice League versus Suicide. Heck, they even had a backstory having New 52 retcon. Also, I should mention, though, in the case of Justice League Generation Lost, they had this flashback of Max Lord with his mom, where there was a company that he started that was there bought out by Lex Luthor. And it's like, trying to prove to be better. It shows the fact that Joe Wendick, the way he writes Max Lord in this flashback, is that he's more like a rival to Lex Luthor. I don't think he hates Lex Luthor per se. And in case you're curious, though, prior to this very book where they mention Lex Luthor, has Lex Luthor and Max Lord ever shared a comic together? Out of the many comics I've read, the answer is no. Lex Luthor has never met Max, not even the current continuity. He's never met Max Lord. It's like he's completely off his radar. He's met Bruce. I don't think even now. Here's the thing. Those might be curious. Has Max Lord met Bruce Wayne outside of the Batman costume? Nope. Despite being a businessman. Now you might be thinking, did Maxwell ever find out Bruce Wayne is Batman? Pre-Flashpoint? Not to my knowledge. He never found out about that. Now, as for the whole thing of how Batman retained his memories, Max Lord, my guess is because he did this just prior to his return. When he came back in Batman and Robin. Yeah, my guess he was probably traveling through time at the time when this was happening, and probably the reason why he was also immune, because not only was time traveling, but probably because also he trained his mind to make sure he doesn't have his memories manipulated by somebody again, like it was revealed in Identity Crisis, where he had his memory wiped of an incident involving Dr. Light, where Zatanna was wiping his memory, and then it wiped Batman's memory for some strange reason. All because he just happened to walk in just like for doing this. Despite the fact that in JLA him and Marsh Manhunter did it to Prometheus for some strange reason. But my final thoughts on Generation Lost, amazing book. Absolutely amazing. Yes. It was a companion piece to Brightest Day. I gotta admit, both books are both really good, and it's interesting that both books will publish like twice a month. That's why we had 24 issues each of both books. The Brightest Day was written by Jeff Johns and Peter J. Tomasi. In the K Generation Lost, that was Joe Winnick and Keith Giffen, who was writing that book. But Power Girl, I am pretty much done with Power Girl for now until I talk about the current volume publishment. I wanted to get a chance to get hands on the trades for it. But what's your place in Power Girl? I don't know. I probably just close the tab out. Same thing with Generation Lost. But next time when I talk about Comic Corner, it will be The Question and Detective Comics. Which ones? We'll find out. We'll find out soon. Okay. Next up, basically, it's going to be a review for free. Okay. Next video. Bye.